Hello you lot, Miller Corner here, welcome back once again, and today you join me back in the pretty rurally tree sort of area, which can mean only one thing: it's time to talk. And today we're talking about that. Yep, today we're talking about the 2002 Fiat Seicento Sporting Abarth that I've been daily driving ever since my Super Seicento was written off in Germany a few months ago. That's right, the car that's become affectionately known as the temporary daily is the subject of today's video, and we've got some major talking to do about that little red nugget over there. But since we're kind of at this handheld distance, you're kind of up in my grill, getting a bit too close. I'm not entirely sure I want you this close. Let's sit down and have a proper chat. Whoa, I'm getting too old for this. 20 years old now, you'd never believe it, would you? Over the last few months there's been quite a few additions to the Miller Corner garage, from the new 2003 Seicento Sporting that is the kind of new shell for the Super Seicento, to my 2007 Yamaha YBR 125, my first bike, to this, the 2002 Fiat Seicento Sporting Abarth that I took on as my daily driver when I got back from Germany on a plane, having sort of kind of totally written off the shell for the Super Seicento. And I've actually put around 4,000 miles on it since I took control of this car a few months back. That's a serious amount of mileage considering that I don't really go anywhere. In that time the car has been pretty much flawless. It's never broken down, it's never overheated, it's never had any gremlins of any sort whatsoever, and it's been a really easy to use and comfortable daily driver, and in a way kind of reminded me of what it was like tearing around in my own Seicento Sporting when I got my little yellow 2002 one as my first car, and it was bone stock all those many moons ago. It's fair to say this is nowhere near as much fun to drive, listen to or look at as my own modified car, but that hasn't stopped me absolutely loving daily driving this little beast, because as much as it is totally stock, that's kind of nice once in a while to remind yourself how much better a car is when modified, and it's also reminded me quite how brilliant the stock Seicento is. No, it's not fast, no, it's not planted in the corners, and no, it doesn't make a very good noise, but it's just so damn fun. And the perks of having a tiny lightweight car with chuckable steering and a really well sorted chassis cannot be discounted just because the car is stock. This car might be physically abused, it might be in kind of tatty condition on the exterior, but in terms of that Seicento spirit and that character, it's still very much alive, and I haven't found it hard to sort of bond with this car a bit over the last few months. From not really liking it because it reminded me too much of the car that I'd lost in that accident, to now actually it having its own sort of personality, and it must be said, I've got a bit of a bond with this car now. When you actually think about it, it's kind of easy to see how I've managed to put over 4,000 miles on this thing in the time I've been driving it. For a start, I've been dailying it, which obviously puts miles on the car, going to work, all that kind of stuff, but I've also gone to a few trips kind of further afield, and I've actually done a number of videos with this car as well. I mean, for a start, I did the 1,000 subscriber Q&A video road trip thing with Ed, the kind of rant about why I'm not very keen on newer cars, using this as exhibit A as to why I don't really have much of a passion for new cars when older ones are just much more interesting to me. There was the time that I kind of sort of up a bit and went to the wrong car meet. The one I was meant to go to wasn't until the week after, but sorry about that. I turned up to a meet in this car that was designed more for sort of prestige and classic cars. I mean, for crying out loud, there was an E-Type Jag there were a couple of TVRs, but despite that, I turned up, I had the car there, and it was accepted. I got a few people looking at the car, a couple of people made some nice comments that they liked them, but then there was the big thing that I did with the red Seicento Sporting temporary daily in the time I had it, and that was going to Festival Italia at Brands Hatch, where this tatty little Seicento Sporting got to play at being a show car for the day. Because this car is by no means show car quality in terms of presentation and bodywork, I used a little bit of tongue-in-cheek humour and a roll of masking tape to decorate it and make it stand out in another way. I changed it into a car that people actually paid attention to. They commented on, they had a look round, I had a couple of people tell me that they liked it. I then got to take this car onto Brands Hatch. If you haven't seen the video, I actually got to do 2 full laps of the Brands Hatch circuit in an Italian car parade. There was a whole parade lap where all the owners' cars could drive around and just experience the circuit on a beautiful afternoon that it was, and that was an epic experience. Admittedly, it was only at 30 miles an hour, and I obviously wasn't racing anyone, but driving on Brands Hatch in a Seicento, a car that I absolutely love, even if it's not my own one, was just awesome. I absolutely loved that experience. I loved taking this car on the track. For as much as it was supposed to be just a stopgap daily while I was repairing my own car, I've actually grown a bit of affection for this thing, and I think you guys have too, because it seems like you've really been enjoying whenever this thing's been appearing on camera and in my Instagram feed. I think between us, we've come to love this little thing. Unfortunately though, that bond may have come at the wrong time, because that's right, the Super Seicento is back. It's been fully rebuilt, and once the insurance has been sorted, it'll be ready to go back on the road as my car and my daily driver. I can't tell you how excited I am to properly go and thrash the Super Seicento once again. But of course, with the Super Seicento being back, I've now got no need for this little fella. However, before you all jump into the comments and try and offer me money for it and try to buy it and try to take it on as your own little Super Seicento project, because actually a surprisingly large amount of you have taken this car into your hearts as well. The amount of people I've had message me and comment on my Instagram posts saying how much they like this car and they'd like to buy it, it is not for sale, and the reason for that is it's staying within the family. That's right, about this time next year my brother will be learning to drive, because he's going to turn 17, and in now Miller Corner family tradition, he's going to be doing it in a Fiat Seicento Sporting. Between now and then, the car's going to go into storage, it's going to be laid up for a few months, and then a bit closer to the time, we're going to pull it out, tidy it up, give it a damn good clean inside and out, and sort out the few mechanical issues it's got, including that damn clonking in reverse. This has been a brilliant way to get about for the last few months. Thanks, little mate. Appreciate it. So that is goodbye for now to the red Seicento Sporting. It's time to get my little yellow beast back on the channel, and there are some big plans to come for it later this year and obviously next year. So make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified when the Super Seicento is back on the channel. But for now, thanks very much for watching, everybody, and have a brilliant rest of your day. See you soon, and have a good one.